Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So I wanted to make another tutorial on tracking commissions, and my last video that I made, I was tracking it with classes, but I'm in a situation, I have a client who does not want to pay for the QuickBooks Online Plus to have the classes. So this is kind of my workaround to still track the total amount from the customer and to also be able to track the employees' commissions. So if you come into the chart of accounts, if you have like 10 or so employees, it's not too crazy. I think that this is very doable. I created a parent account with commissions payable, and then I would list all the employees that are within the company. So with that, I also would come up to the settings here in products and services, and I'm creating the same exact thing in the products and services. So I have the commissions expense still, and then the commissions payable, I have this listed as wages payable. You could probably still put commissions payable, but I would list them for each individual employee as well. So when you create this, make the name that makes sense for you, and then in the sales you would have the income account as the commissions payable for that specific employee that you created in the chart of accounts. So that's how I set that up. Now if I'm getting the reports from my client, my thought and idea is to create an invoice. So they haven't been paid yet, but we do have the actual commission statement. So my workaround would say you'd put that customer, so we're gonna say it's Cigna. You'd put the date, maybe there's a specific date that they're supposed to be paid. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to send it to this customer anyways, but we're going to do the 12th of June. So my other thought as well, now that I'm looking at this, if you want to maybe still track how much these agents are bringing into the company, you can create a separate box like this. So I have two of them. You would only make one, but you'd have this, and you could have your employees in here, and you could track that as well. So I'll show you how I set this up too. So we'll put that in there, and then we do the same thing like I showed in my other video. You would have your sales income for the total amount. So this is 5,000. We wouldn't put a class, of course, because we're not using class. And then we have our commissions expense. That's also in our chart of accounts and our products and services. And we'll just say this employee is getting 25%. And then the last thing we're putting in is the wages payable for that employee. So we'll put the same thing here, 25% of the total. And then we also want to make this commission expense a negative. so that it matches our total. So we have the 5,000 that's supposed to be coming in from the carrier, and then we're putting in the commissions expense and the wages payable. So we'll see it on the P&L and the balance sheet. So I have the sales agent in here as well, and then our customer. So I'll save this, and then we're not going to worry about the class. Now if you want that sales agent, what you can do is you'll go into your settings and click on custom fields. And here's where you'll have your sales rep or sales agent. So you would just add a field, name it whatever you want. So sales rep. This I'm not too sure, to be honest. We could put it as a vendor, and then I want to see it on the invoice and maybe like an expense, and then I would save that. You can put these, so this really doesn't matter, but if you're possibly sending it to a customer as an invoice, you can put this on to actually show it on the invoice. It would put the sales rep at the top, but if you don't want it on there, you could just take it off, and then you would save that, and that's how you would get that custom field in that invoice. So let's go to our reports, and we'll just see what it looks like on the balance sheet. So now we have our invoice, which is the accounts receivable, and then we're going to have our commissions payable, which it should have the specific employees. I must have put in the wrong one here, so let me go back. We have our customer, so this should be okay. So I had a different one in my chart of accounts, or my product and services, so it should be for the specific employee, and then that should match the 5,000. Then we'll go back to our balance sheet. And I guess you gotta refresh this on the new one. With the modern reports, they make you refresh it every time. Hopefully they fix that. Okay. So I must have another invoice in there, but typically this is what it would look like. So you'd have your employees set up in here, so at the end of the month, if you needed to pay them on payroll, you would at least have this to go off of. So very similar like how I demonstrated with the classes, except this will just be on the balance sheet, and you'll have all of your employees under this commissions payable. And the good thing is you'll still have the clean reporting, because you can still collapse these to have the total, so it's not a big deal if you have like 10-12 employees. And then you'll have your accounts receivable still, so you can still track what these carriers owe you. So same thing when you go into the bank feed. So now we're going to say that the customer paid, and we'll we'll see the 5,000 here. So all you need to do now, since we already set it up with the invoice, is match it. So it should go to that invoice. And I do have 2 of them open, so that's why. But because we created this one in June, I believe, we're gonna match that. And I'm gonna go into the invoice real quick. And we'll just delete the one I had before. But same concept. And now we should see the accounts receivable come off the balance sheet. So now the accounts receivable is at 0. We still haven't paid Gary for his $12.50. And when we come into the profit and loss, we're gonna see the income that was paid, and then we still have our commissions expense, which is under the cost of goods sold. So we get our total gross profit. Now the last thing that we can do is look at the reports for our sales rep. So if we go into the standard reports, we're going to come down to sales and customers. We'll look at the sales by customer detail. This is the only report that you can use to find the sales rep. I'm not sure why you can't group it in the other ones. I'm going to change the dates here to 2018. Alright, so we see the customer here, right, the Cigna, and we have the invoice. So it's going to show everything that was on the invoice. Okay, so that's the total for that customer. And we should be able to group it by sales rep, whichever one you decide. So I have 3 of them in here, but you should only have one, whatever you want to label it. But now we can group it by the agent. So now we have Gary. So now we can at least have a report, if you want to see it, of what did Gary bring into the company in total. So 5,000 is what we created it so far. That was his first sale. So if there's multiple invoices in here that we matched from the bank feed, you're gonna get that total for Gary. And then this can be another good report for your client if they want to see how their employees are doing. So this is the workaround. Classes is a much easier way of doing it, but you can do this workaround and it works just the same. So little extra steps. I don't know if that's the best way, but that's what I came up with, and I'm gonna start doing it with my client. If you guys have other ideas, I'd love to hear them. Leave them in the comments below. And if you have any other questions about how I set everything up, feel free to ask them. And if you guys want to see other videos, please let me know. And I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully this is helpful. So I will see you on the next video.